who tend to be better squatters, they have a little bit shorter legs, a little more hip and glute power, are typically better pulls from conventional. Or I also quad lifters. Like Nathan, I bet you'll be a better sumo depending on your body type. So benefits to conventional. Conventional, your feet are under you, so you can generate more power. Does that make sense? Just like if I went to do a standing jump, I'm going to do it from here, right? I'm not going to do it from here. Why? Because I can't generate that much power. I can't accelerate. But what's the benefit of being here? The benefit of being here is my knees are out of the way. Tired. Does that make sense to you guys?
Oh yeah, totally.
Squat, straight bar cut, right? Short sits between 2 points. Exact same thing on pulls. Which is why, if you're pulling correctly, if you do not have tights on, you don't have socks on, you should have bloody shins.
I can get you under this too if you guys want it.
That bar should drive right up your shins. That's what you're doing, okay? So when I set up on conventional, a lot of people have different things they like to do. And there's a ton of reviews we're going to do. Some things are not going to make sense.
What's up?
My midfoot, guys, that means you're going to be about an inch away from your bar. Okay? I'm talking about part of your foot you can see. Like, that looks like it slices your foot in half. But I can't see my heel. Does that make sense? So this is actually half of my foot. Putting my foot there. Okay? So when I go down to get the bar, you can already see it. So my hands, you don't want your hands here. You want them as close to your legs as you can. You guys understand why? You're shortening the stroke. Okay? Exactly. It's like making a deficit. So you know what? I'm just going to show you the movement like Matt Perry always says. So maybe I'll be better this way.
Back up.
Okay. Now let's talk about it. Alright. So did you guys see, again, I have a very rehearsed, very specific way I do that, right? Okay. You guys see what I mean by the breathing carrying over? So what I do before I started to pull that bar, I got all my air in and held it, right? I'm generating force from here. Make sense? It's almost like, have you ever done leg press? And you feel like when you're breathing that you're almost pressing the weight off your stomach? Same thing here, right? So if we get tight, when I pull conventional, I'm actually a sumo puller in competition, but when I pull conventional, I'm actually thinking about, once I get tight and I'm next to here, I'm thinking about pushing the floor away from myself off my stomach. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm here. Okay, a few mistakes people make. One, they try to rush it off the ground, and they do this. They let their hips come up, because you're trying to rush it off the ground. Be patient. Break the floor with your quads. Or, I'm sorry, break the floor with your hips. Okay, you're pressing down against the floor and driving your hips forward. Okay, this is a hip hinge movement. Let me see that. So, why is it easier to use this to pick a weight up as opposed to just picking it straight off the ground? Because you're using a hinge, okay? So, if these are my arms and this is my hips, what happens? Hips drive forward, okay? So if this, imagine the bar moved and not this, right? You're driving your hips forward. Does it make sense to you guys? So, I tell people, like, if you get, once I break this off the floor, the cue should be, as soon as you break the floor, driving your hips forward, squeezing your glutes, okay? Because if I just do that, if I'm here, all I have to do is squeeze my glutes and walk out. You guys see that? That's it, I don't have to go any higher, okay? In terms of pulling, I see a lot of people thinking about pull, 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 pull off the ground. And what happens is they straighten their legs too fast and they push away from themselves. That bar needs to stay against your shins, okay? So not only one other thing that you guys see me doing. You guys see me packing my lats. You guys see that. I want you to watch it again. Before I start to pull this bar to the floor, I want you guys to watch what happens to my lats. Okay, when I breathe. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay? I'm thinking about wrapping the bar around my legs. Two reasons for that. One, you want to apply maximum tension to this bar before you start to press with your legs, okay? Because there's slack in this bar. You see that? That bar is moving, but the weight's not coming off the ground. If you just pull, the slack's not out, you're immediately going to have the bar separate from your shins, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, so I'm using my back to take the slack out. And my cue is actually, I'm thinking, I'm going to get my lats, my breath in, I'm going to get my lats so tight, this bar is going to want to come off the ground immediately. And I'm actually saying, no, you're going to stay in place until my shins hit you, and then I'm going to let you come up. I allow you to come up. Does that make sense to you guys? All right, so listen for the click. Did you guys hear that click? That's the slack coming out of the bar. I should hear that every time before you start to use your leg. Okay? So I'm going to breathe, pull slack by wrapping the bar around my shins, and then I'm going to press away from the floor. Okay? So we're putting all that together. So those cues make sense for you guys. Did you see that? Okay? See how quiet that was? How quiet the bar was? Another mistake people make. They try to turn this into a squat. It's not a squat. It's not a squat. I hate that. I hate people. Get your hips lower, get your hips lower, get your hips lower. In order for this bar to move off the ground, your scapula must be over the bar and your shins are going to be perpendicular. Okay, if you try to turn this into a squat here, where are my scapula? They're this far back. So you know what my first movement is? Going forward. Right? If I'm here, guess what happens? This bar is going to come off the ground until I come here. Now it's coming off the ground as I'm going forward. Do not over dip your hips. It is not a squat. Okay? It's a hip movement. Sumo cues. Pretty much the exact same thing. Alright? Only difference is I have your feet out here. And it's going to be slower than break the floor. Okay? You guys watch my sumo. Did anybody watch me pull sumo at the competition? After I start to apply tension, there's like a split second where that bar's not moving, right? And then it accelerates as it goes up my leg. My first deadlift, I missed it because I was too fast off the floor actually. And I got out of line, okay? Sumo should be slow off the floor, fast to lock out. If you do it right, it's going to accelerate as you go up. So I'm going to get down here. I turn my feet out because you want to get your knees out of the way of the bar. You see a lot of people will pull like this sumo. Look at what's happening. See that? Pushing the bar away from me. Do you see that? Feet out, okay? Here. And this is my position to pull, right? My scapula over the bar, my shin's about perpendicular. That's my position to pull. I have long femurs. I'm pretty far over the bar, right? Like even sumo, I have a pretty high or pretty low back angle. But that's where I pull. I can't make myself put into a different anatomical position. Okay. The biggest thing is in my bracing, by driving my glutes forward. Okay. I'm going to use the same cues. I'm going to pull the slack out of the bar, and then on sumo, I don't think about pressing the floor away, I think about spreading the floor. Okay, I'm trying to spread the floor. I actually start with my hips high because I get a little bit deeper breath that way, and I pull myself down to the bar. From here, I'll pull myself to the bar and do it. You guys see me tighten my lats? That cue is usually the last one people get, okay? But the easy way to do it is think about wrapping the bar around your shins. Okay? If you do that, you're going to feel your lats get tight. Does that make sense to you guys? All right, let's pull. Yes, sir?
What about overhand?
With a over-under grip, there is a slight risk to that of tearing the supinated bicep. Most people aren't going to be able to put enough weight on there at the beginning to do that sort of thing. And it's a pretty rare injury. So how much I worry about that? I pull hook in competition because it's just one less thing for me to have to work on. So the reason it's very difficult to pull double overhand traditional is because the bar is going to roll out of your hands. Okay, you're literally supporting almost all the bar just with your thumbs under you, right? So with a hook grip, you actually put your thumb up against the bar and you wrap your fingers around your thumb. Okay? It gets to be quite a bit of pressure on your hand, but it's a very secure grip. So when I pull competition, I hook, so it'll look like this. So if I'm on the other side, so this, imagine I'm turned around. Okay, that's how I do it. Make sense? Okay. I don't pull like that when I'm training very often because it tears the crap out of my hands. So I'll actually pull with straps. If you're not going to do a powerlifting meet, I would just say do double overhand, use straps. You don't have to worry about your bicep, and you're still getting the benefits of deadlifts. If you plan to lift in competition, then you either have to pull over under or hook. Okay? Any question?
When you're going back down, what's the first movement, I guess I would say? Like from the top of the deadlift,
Unlock your hips. Unlock your hips. So, and don't, I see people say, well, you're dropping the bar in between reps. If you try to make a slow deadlift eccentric, you will injure your back. I promise you. Okay, this is not an eccentric movement. Alright? You want to do eccentrics on your back? Do friggin' hyperextensions or something else. Don't do it on deadlifts. Alright? Oh God, don't do it on deadlifts. So when I'm doing reps, this is how it'll look. So you see I'm locking my glutes, and then the first movement is unlock, just write it down. Okay? So I'm not dropping it, but I'm riding it down to the floor. Does that make sense to you guys? And you see how I'm doing the breathing? At the top, and take a new breath in at the bottom to get going. Any other questions?
It's not like a squat.
It is not a squat! Yeah, it's you know, that's like that's right up there with you know, my every YouTube video. It never fails. Why do you lean so far forward? Well, you know, if you happen to look at the other 50,000 videos where I explain this, you know, it's in there. So it's like, why don't you just put your hips lower on deadlift? Well, I don't know, because I'd rather not, you know, cut half an inch off my femur, you know? I don't know. It's just, like I was telling some of the girls earlier, you know, people will say, well, why can't you squat more upright? I'm like, well, why can't you be 7 foot? Well, come on, you pussy, sure. You know what I mean? Like, it's, but I mean, people don't think about that, but it's literally the same question. You can't change how you are, right? So all we're looking to do is get the most out of what your structure is. But the good thing is if you're poor for squatting, you're probably built for deadlifting. Or if you're poor for deadlifting, you're probably built for benching. So you're going to be good at something. You know what I mean? So everybody has pluses, minuses. Very rarely you'll come across a guy like a freaking Bryce Lewis who's kind of built for everything. Ryan Doris is built for everything. I hate him.
LS.
Yeah, LS has short arms, so he's kind of tough on deadlift. You know, he still has a good deadlift.
Yeah.